Welcome back. I hope all of you are doing good. Now, with the basic knowledge of the quantitative research, I would like to start section 2, that is regarding study design. Study design can be classified through multiple ways depending on the different fields of study. It is different for medicine, social sciences, psychology, and etc. Here we are going to discuss the basic study design, which form the basic framework of all type of study design in different studies. So the study designs are divided into two, that is qualitative and quantitative. In this module, we are focusing on quantitative research. The quantitative research study design are divided further into four parts, that is descriptive, correlational, causal and comparative research, and experimental. And the descriptive is further divided into cross-sectional and longitudinal research. Now moving towards the first type of research, that is descriptive research. This is a type of research that can be conducted with a specific target audience group and also can be conducted across multiple groups along with comparative analysis. By conducting descriptive research, an organization can ask multiple survey questions, collect data from a pool of sample population, and analyze this collected data to produce numerical result. It is a first step towards collecting data for any research. A prerequisite for this type of study is that the sample of the respondent must have randomly selected members. This way, a researcher can easily maintain the accuracy of the obtained result, as a huge variety of the respondent will address using random selection. It is further divided into cross-sectional and longitudinal. So first we will be discussing cross-sectional surveys. They are observational surveys conducted in situations where the researcher intends to collect the data from the sample of the target population at a given point in time. It is also known as snapshot study design. Basically, assume you take a picture and then you take a picture of a scenario and then you research on it and then write your results according to it. In this type of study design, the relationship cannot be established and there is no knowledge regarding the time before or after the specific snapshot. Cross-sectional surveys are popular with retail and healthcare industries. Information is generated without modifying any parameters in the variable ecosystem. Using cross-sectional surveys research method, multiple samples can be analyzed and compared. Multiple variables can be evaluated using this type of survey research. The only disadvantage of the cross-sectional survey is that the cause-effect relationship of the variables cannot be established as it's usually evaluate at a particular time and not across the continuous time frame. As I said earlier, it's also known as snapshot study design. Moving towards the second type, that is longitudinal survey. Longitudinal survey are also observational surveys, but unlike cross-sectional surveys, longitudinal surveys are conducted across various time duration to observe a change in respondent behavior and thought process. This can be done for days, months, years, or even decades. For instance, a researcher planning to analyze the change in the buying habits of a teenager over 5 years will conduct a longitudinal survey. In cross-sectional survey, the same variable were evaluated at a given point in time. And in longitudinal survey, different variables can be analyzed at different intervals of time. Longitudinal surveys are extensively used in the field of medicine and applied sciences. Apart from these two fields, they are also used to observe a change in a market trend, analyze customer satisfaction, or gain feedback on product and services. In the field of medicine, they are used to determine the effect of a medicine on patient. They divide the sample population into two groups, A and B. They give treatment to group A and they don't give treatment to group B, and they observe the difference among them. In situation where the sequence of the event is highly essential, longitudinal surveys are used. Researchers say that when there are research subjects that need to be thoroughly inspected before concluding, they rely on longitudinal surveys. Now, this I would like to move towards the second type of study design, that is correlational research. Correlational research is conducted to establish a relationship between the two closely knit entities and how one impacts the other and what are the changes that are that are eventually observed. This research method is carried out to give value to the naturally occurring relationships, and a minimum of two different groups are required to conduct this quantitative research method successfully. Researchers use this quantitative research method to correlate two or more variables using mathematical analysis method. Patterns, relationships, and trends between the variables are concluded as they exist in their original setup. The impact of one of these variables on the other is observed, along with how it changes the relationship between the two variables. Few of the examples for correlational research designs are the relationship between the stress and the depression, the equation between fame and money, the relation between activities in a third grade class and its students. Moving towards the type of the research, that is causal comparative research. This research method mainly depends on the factor of comparison, also called as quasi-experimental research. This quantitative research method is used by researchers to conduct cause-effect equation between two or more variables, where one variable is dependent on the other variable. This differentiates it from the previous study design. The independent variable is established but not manipulated, and its impact on the dependent variable is observed. As the dependent variable and independent variable are always exist in a group, it is advised that the conclusions are carefully established by keeping all the factors in mind. Causal comparative research is not restricted to the statistical analysis of two variables, but extend to analyzing how various variables or groups change under the influence of the same changes. This research is conducted irrespective of the type of relation that exists between two or more variables. Analysis is used to distinctly present the outcome of obtained using this quantitative research method. Few of the examples for this study design is the impact of drugs on a teenager, the effect of good education on freshmen, the effect of substantial food provision in the villages of Africa. Now moving towards and the last study design, that is experimental research, also known as true experimentation. This research method is reliant on a theory. Experimental research, as the name suggests, is usually based on one or more theories. This theory has not been proven in the past and is merely a supposition. In experimental research, an analysis is done around proving or disapproving the statement. This research method is used in natural sciences. A theory is a statement that can be verified or refuted. After establishment, the statement efforts are made to determine whether it is valid or invalid. This type of quantitative research method is mainly used in natural or social sciences as there are various statements which need to be proved right and wrong. Few of the examples of experimental study design are traditional research methods are more effective than modern techniques. Systematic teaching schedules help children who find it hard to cope with the course. It is a boon to have responsible nursing staff for ailing patients. With this, I would like to end our section 2. I will meet you in the section 3, that is regarding data collection method and techniques. Until then, thank you so much.